She was standing outside my window. I don't know how she got there. My house has no yard, no ledge, just a straight drop to the rocks below. But she was there, her feet somehow resting on nothing. Her skin was dry, cracked like old wood, and her eyes were too big, too black, like two pits in her skull. I couldn't move. My chest felt tight, like something was sitting on it. She smiled at me. Her teeth were wrong. Too many. And then, in a voice that sounded like dry leaves scratching against each other, she whispered my name. It started 3 nights before. I was staying in my uncle's house in the village. He told me not to go near the old well. That's where she lives, he said. Don't speak near it. Don't throw anything in. Don't even look too long. I should have listened. The village was small, quiet. No electricity, no running water. Just small mud houses, goats, and the endless stretch of dry land. I had come to visit my uncle for the first time in years. My mother sent me, saying I needed to learn about my roots. That afternoon, I was walking back from the river with some of the village boys. They laughed and kicked stones as we made our way up the narrow path. That's when I saw it, the well. It didn't look special. Just a hole in the ground, covered in dried vines. The boys walked past it without looking. I don't know why, but I stopped. Curious, I picked up a small stone and tossed it in. No splash. I frowned and leaned over. Nothing. Just blackness. I should have walked away, but instead, I whispered, "Hello." A second later, something whispered back. Not an echo. Not the wind. It was my own voice, twisted and wrong, like it had been pulled apart and put back together the wrong way. I ran. That night, I woke up to a sound outside. Something was scratching at the door. Slow, deliberate. My uncle was snoring in the next room, so I knew it wasn't him. The scratching stopped, replaced by heavy breathing. Right outside the window. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. After what felt like hours, it went away. The next morning, my uncle saw my face and nodded. "You heard her," he said. "She knows you now." I didn't understand. "Oh?" He just shook his head. "You should have listened." I wanted to leave. I begged him to take me back to the city, but he just shook his head. "If you run, she follows. You have to face her." I didn't understand what he meant. I just knew I didn't want to be there anymore. The second night was worse. I woke up again, but this time, I couldn't move. My chest felt heavy, like something was pressing down on it. My eyes darted around the room. That's when I saw her. She was crouched in the corner, her body twisted, bones sticking out under her skin. Her long fingers scraped against the floor. She smiled. "You looked into my home," she whispered. "Now I will look into yours." I wanted to scream, but my mouth wouldn't open. My body wouldn't move. I could only watch as she crawled toward me, her limbs bending the wrong way. And then, she was gone. I could move again. I gasped for air and sat up, drenched in sweat. My uncle was already standing in the doorway. "She's coming closer," he said. I left the village the next morning. My uncle didn't stop me. I don't know if she followed me. But sometimes, when the night is quiet, I hear something scratching at my window.